Hey crafters, welcome to the assembly video for our Clowning Around card. Today we're crafting a delightful card that's sure to bring joy to any celebration. Now whether you're attending a whimsical summer party or planning a child's birthday, this versatile project works beautifully as either an invitation or a greeting card. We've included inserts for both actually. And it's got cheerful colors, layered details, and of course the charming inserts. We've included numbers from 0 to 9 so that you can personalize it. And again, it's thoughtful, handmade, and sets the tone for fun. So let's jump in. Okay, so we have our card base here and already pre-folded it. As you can see, we did include a solid scoreline version of the card. And we're going to begin by creating just the main part of the front of the card. So while you're picking out your papers, you're going to pick something for the background. We're going to go with this. I think that once I photograph this, it'll kind of come to life. You can see it's like a nice holographic foil. And this is going to go right on the front. You want to make sure that you get this as centered as possible so that you have an even border all the way around. So we'll begin by just applying our glue on the back. So we're kind of in what I guess you would call kind of a crafty limbo state right now as far as occasions go, which I think is probably why we get really excited for Christmas in July, which is next. It's on the back, well, it's on the, we're about to start cooking it, I guess you could say. But yeah, there's, after Mother's Day and Father's Day, spring, we were gonna do something for 4th of July this year, but we're kind of doing it every other year since, the numbers say that it's not as popular to craft for, but there's still a demand for it, I guess you could say. Okay, so that's in place. It looks nice. Okay. Next, we're going to grab this piece, and there's two pieces that look pretty similar. One that has the word celebrate cut out of it, and one that does not. We're going to start with the one that does not, and that's going to go on like this. Just want to match this up as closely as possible. Now we are gluing this to a foil, which maybe, it's going to slide around a little bit, let's just say, just because it's not as, doesn't have all the little nooks and crannies of your typical cardstock. So just be patient if you too are using a similar type of paper. If you're using cardstock, you probably don't need to worry about it too much, or even a pattern paper is not going to give you any trouble, or at least it shouldn't. Okay, we'll pop that right on there. Just line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. Once we get this layer down, we'll be in good shape. I'm going to flip this around and push down from the other side. There we go. Let's make sure that it stayed in place. Now, one thing I am seeing is the glue kind of peeking through that foil, which is interesting, but it should be all right. Okay, next, we're going to put down this red layer. And that's going to go on like this. Again, just want to match it up as accurately as you can. Nice and easy with the glue here. You want to focus around the perimeter, and then the stuff we do on the interior, it's just a cherry on top, I guess, just to kind of help hold it in place. These super graphic cards are nice and well, they're just very, I don't know what the word is. All right, so that's in place, and then we're going to put this in place here. You can see that is going to create our little caption at the bottom with very minimal work. got little bits of something in there. All right, so let's go ahead and get this glued into place. So of course, being a dad, well, of course we've included numbers 0 through 9. I don't know, I mean, you can use 0 through 9 to create basically any number. I don't really see this card going to an adult, but you never know, especially if you've got someone that's quite the clown in your family. Maybe it is appropriate, but being the dad that I am, I cut out the number 3, because Peyton is going to be amazingly somehow turning 3 years old this year, which is crazy to me. You guys have said it many times. It goes by really fast, and it's kind of sad in some ways, but it's so amazing watching him grow. Very lucky. He's such a good boy. I don't think he just hears mom and dad say thank you and please so much that we don't even prompt him to do that. We took him to, we take him to a bunch of places since mom's at home with him, but after everything we do for him, he's just like, thank you, mama, thank you, dada. It's so cute. All right, so there is the base of our card. There's a few more things. Well, we're gonna start building, the clown is dimensional, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is grab this piece here, okay? And we're gonna get this glued down. Now there's a part of this where he's like popping out of the frame a little bit, and it's his left hand, well, facing, it would be his right, but facing, or us looking at him, it would be his left. And this is a little tiny piece of it that's kind of sticking off to make him look like he's popping out of the frame, which I thought was a nice little touch. And here we're just going to line this up with the little shadow elements, especially the hand. Focus on the hand there on the bottom. Just make sure that you get that nice and lined up. There we go. Okay, looking good. All right, and you can kind of start building various elements of our clown. We're going to start with pants and his jackets. There's some additional pieces here. That's for the top. This is for his little coats. I kind of laid most of this stuff out yesterday just to give it kind of a dry run and make sure I knew what I was doing. All right, so we're going to start off with this piece here. Okay, and I did go through and ink various pieces. Okay, so that's going to go right there. Interesting shape. Definitely don't have any shapes like this. But anyway, so yeah, you know, we've just been kind of going through the library and trying to fill some of the voids that we haven't really touched upon over the years. And, you know, the circus is one of them. I know that that is definitely a popular theme for kids' birthdays, so I wanted to incorporate something along those lines. All right, now let's grab some pants here. Okay, and these are going to go right down at the bottom here, obviously. And then we'll build his little suit. And the head portion, you can, if you want, you can glue that down flat, but we're going to add some foam squares to add a little bit of dimension to that, just because I think it really adds to the overall aesthetic. All right, let's get his jacket in place. The jacket's made up of 2 layers, okay? And what we need to do is take this gold colored layer and glue it behind the red, and that will just automatically create the little buttons for us while giving that jacket some dimension. Okay. Let's get that glued down like so. There we go. Do the same thing with the other one. And I hope that some of you, most of you, hopefully, potentially, eventually, all of you join me over at Creative Fabrica. I will say that for the first time in I don't know how long, I'm actually kind of ahead of schedule with, well, product development as far as coming up with ideas and concepts. I really feel like I'm able to take my time and really think about ideas and, you know, even scrap a bunch that maybe I wasn't completely feeling until I get the, you know, kind of exact result that I was looking for. All right, so now this piece is going on here. We're just kind of building the two sections of his coat, and then we'll glue everything in place once it's all together. Just follow along here. You can see how that's turning out. And then there's a little collar piece, okay? And this one is gonna go here. And then of course this one is gonna go here, like so. So let's just get those glued into place. And I did ink those, but it's kind of a dark piece of paper, so I'm not surprised that it didn't really show very well, especially once it dries. But anyway, the stuff that we have conceptualized for Christmas in July, I think is going to be some of our best work. We didn't want to, I mentioned in the Facebook group that we were doing something with a structure. The structure is not going to be as involved as Frostwood Manor, but I think it's still going to be as impressive. And that's another thing too, is walking that tightrope between awesome and still sort of relatively easy to assemble, which I know many of you appreciate. Okay, so now that we have these built, we can go ahead and apply our glue, and we'll get these installed. This should sort of fit like a little puzzle into that little section there, and that worked out beautifully, like so. And we'll get the other one. And pop that right in place. Like I said, just like a little puzzle. And I did, again, cut all of these pieces with my Caesar Juliet, which I am really, really digging lately. And also, here we've got two little dots. Now, if these are too hard for you to glue, you can always just grab a little marker and just draw in little circles for his buttons. They are relatively small, and we do have some markers there to help you. It's kind of fun to see how precise you can get with a tiny little piece of paper. There we go. And then there's one more, and that is a nice little tiny circle. Actually, it looks like a circle. That's another thing I need to do, is do a little circle comparison, because I know that I may have stirred the pot a little bit when it comes to talking about the capabilities of the Caesar versus the Cricut, but that's okay. You guys will see what I mean eventually. All right, let's put some stars down real quick. We're gonna go with the pink one here. Let's do a little dot. I don't need to coat the whole thing. Make sure you center it as best as you can to maintain that little white border around it, so everything looks nice and thought out. There we go, like that. Okay, we'll do a blue one here. So yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't even think I mentioned that. Oh boy, what is going on here? Oh, there we go. Wait, what? Oh, I had it slightly off. That's why it wasn't making any sense. There we go. It goes like that. I don't think I mentioned that I got engaged. Got engaged April something. There was just so much going on with this whole transition with Creative Fabrica that didn't think it was appropriate time to talk about it. So we got that going on. I got to plan a wedding at some point for next year. And yeah, just life is moving at the speed of life right now, I guess you could say. And can't really complain. Things are good. Okay, so the stars are in place. The balloons, we're going to build those, but we're going to take those and actually, we're going to foam square those. But let's go ahead and build it real quick. I've got this beautiful yellow glitter paper. It's going to be kind of our main balloon. This is the balloon that you're going to take and glue a number onto. Okay, and you'll notice that there's little markers there to help you with the positioning of the balloons. And also, just make sure that, despite the fact that we have those, just make sure that you are in fact leaving a nice even border, a nice little shadow around the elements. Okay, our pink one is going to go right here, and use those markers to help you with the placement. There we go. And that one seems a little off. That's fine. And then finally our green one. There's one other balloon, but that is for our envelope, so don't get those confused. Okay. There we go. All right, and of course, the big 3 coming up in November. And however you want to put it on there, it's fine. So now I'm doing glitter on glitter. My best friend, my favorite combination of papers, glitter on glitter. They just love each other so much. It's like oil and water. Hopefully that stays. Okay. And then this is going to you can either glue this down flat. I'm going to foam square this because I think that's going to look great. And you can see that there's a little shadow element. Okay. Now I'm not going to put this on yet. I want to put the head on first. Okay. So let's put that together real quick. Let's get all the pieces for that. Okay. Well, his mouth got stuck in there. That's okay. All right. So first we're going to start off with our dark blue piece. Okay. And then we're going to take and glue down this lighter blue piece. So go ahead and get that going. Oh, and by the way, as I mentioned in the intro, I believe there's 6 different inserts for this. We have 2, one completely blank, one that is partially blank. There's an invitation that we put together for you so that you can either write that in manually or you can bring that into your cutting software and do the writing in there to fill that out if you want to make invitations with these. I don't know if you're going to make up a bunch of these as invitations. They are, I think if you were to make like, I don't know, 5 or 6, I think I did a search and, you know, depending on the age, some parties have a few less kids than others. I think when they're younger, maybe less little kids come over. As they get older, you get a few more. So, but that's okay because I think that this is more for, you know, maybe a kid between I don't know, let's say 2 and 5, which would be perfect. So you can spend an afternoon putting these together. All right, so we have those 3 layers in place. I'm going to put the pink part of the mouth in there. That's going to fit in like a little puzzle. Just pop that in like so. And we're just going to start building here. Let's grab the other part of the mouth. It's this little black piece. Almost looks like a little, what's it called? A little bow tie. And that's going to go flush at the top of the pink so that we're basically left with a little tongue. Okay. Next, let's find his cheeks. And those are just the pink circles. And we can just do a little dot of glue and pop that in there. You know, in the past I would worry a little bit about if the circle's gonna fit, but lately with my Caesar, I'm not so concerned about it, which is nice. All right, let's see what else do we have here. Let's find his nose. And I'm gonna put the little highlight, the little circle within the circle, at about the 10 o'clock position. I'd say that's about 10 o'clock there. What do you think? I think that's about right. Okay, and let's find the eye. There's a little white piece for the eye that goes behind the black. Just do a little dot of glue on that and just glue that onto the white first. And with that, there's two circles. One's a little bit bigger, one's a little bit smaller. I want the bigger one towards the top, and I'm just going to glue this down to where the two circles are just on the left side, not so much oriented at any specific time. There we go, that looks good. Make sure it's nice and centered so you have a little bit of that blue sticking out. Okay, one other thing too here is we have a little extra red glitter for that little thing around his neck that I don't even know what that's called. I don't really understand, or I'm not going to pretend to be a clown fashion connoisseur or specialist. Okay, but again with this one, I'm going to put the circle within the circle at about the 9 o'clock-ish. That's going to go right there, like so. Okay, so I can build his hair, and then we'll build his hat. Okay, so this layer is going to go on first. Okay, nice and easy. And then all that's really left to do is throw a few foam squares on to get this onto the actual card. That's perfect. There we go. Oh boy. There you go, buddy. There you are. Super cute card. It's like a little puzzle. I know you guys love doing puzzles. I don't know whatever happened to the, it was kind of popular for a little while. You would get a template with a bunch of little beads, and you have to like match up the bead colors with their locations. I know Mike was into that for a little while. I think that's, if you can handle that, then you can certainly handle this. Okay, so that's gonna go right there. And then we have one more little section that's going to go right here. It just ended up not being connected to the design, which is fine. If at any time you feel like you're getting too much glue on something, you can always just kind of dab it off with your finger to eliminate some of it or thin it out. Okay, line that up as accurately as you can. There we go. That's nice. And then let's grab our hats. Now, I cut out a few different versions of this. I just want to make sure that it actually fits. It does. Okay, so we'll take this dark blue. That's going to go on first. You need to pop that right on, like so. And then take the pink pattern. You can use whatever pattern you want. Just find something fun and festive. And this is going to get centered so that we have an even border, like so. There we go. And then let's throw a little glittery pom-pom at the top to finish it off. There we go. Cute. That is super cute. All right, let's get our foam squares. We'll flip them over and start applying. Just kind of work the perimeter. Don't have to overdo it, but we do want it to be pretty solid. I think that's good. We'll peel that off, get his head in place, and then get the balloons in place. And then our card, at least the face of it, will be pretty much done. We'll put the insert in there for our invitation. Just remember to size. I think this is sized to 4.75 inches wide. How does this go? Oh, well, you know what? Line it up to this little section down here. That would make more sense. There we go. Just like that. Beautiful. That's so cute. I love it. All right, we'll flip this over and put some on the balloons. The tail of the balloons, the little string that's connected to them, once we get this on there, we can probably take and just glue that down so it doesn't accidentally get snagged or ripped. And I'll kind of show you how you can do that. And just match this up with the little shadow layer on the back as accurately as you can. There we go, beautiful. And you can see a little bit of it is sticking off, and that was by design. Okay, so here what we'll do, grab yourself a scrap piece of paper, okay, and just throw a little glue on there. And then take and just kind of dab the tail, the end of the tail of the little string, and then just press that and hold that down. That'll keep it in place, and just avoid any problems when you're pulling it out of the envelope. We don't want it to get snagged. That is really cute. Okay, I think that's got a good hold. Let's open this up now, and as you can see, here's the little insert that we created. Beautiful, beautiful red color. Great style. And it works really nice. I believe that's a mac and cheese color for the card base. A very vibrant yellow color, which I'm sure we've used it in the fall too. I don't know why I'm already thinking about fall, probably because it's been 1,000 degrees here the last week, and as much as I complain about cold, I sometimes miss that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so card is complete. Love it, very summery. And of course, we have a coordinating envelope to go with it. And I actually did not pre-fold this one. You can see the solid score lines there that I created with my Caesar machine. It's always a good idea to run a bone folder over that. Get that crease nice and defined, like so. Do all four sides. There we go. And the last one. Beautiful. Okay. Then we have this little guy here. It's going to get glued right in there for our confetti. Here's what you want to do with this. You want to focus the glue around the perimeter. You don't want to put any glue on the inside because we don't quite know, unless we have some crazy photographic memory, and where not to put the glue so that it doesn't show through these little cutouts. But you can then add a little bit like that. Pop this in and get it centered. There we go. Okay. And then we'll take these two flaps, bring them in, and starting about here, run that glue all the way down, like so. And close this up. There we go. And bring this down We have one final balloon left. It's going to go right in there to finish off the envelope and to finish off the project. So that is going to wrap this one up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please visit us on our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. While you're there, there's a little bell that you can click on to get notifications anytime we release a new project. And for those of you that have joined us over at Creative Fabrica by picking up your All Access membership, thank you. And for those that haven't, I definitely invite you to do that. Now, one thing I noticed here real quick is, for whatever reason, that is not staying down very well. So I'm gonna grab a scrap piece of paper and just kind of paint a little extra glue right there and hold that down, just scrape that off. And again, if you make this or anything from our latest project, I would love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook, do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and about 47,000 of our closest crafty friends. So again, that's it. Hope you had fun, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.